Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. We've got the standing stones is now off the easel and ready for some final touches. Got my Totoro cup. I can't turn this to the side. I can lose a little bit. Got my Totoro cup, so I got some lemon water. And today I'm going to work on putting some of the finishing kind of final touches on this. So I'm going to pull out my watercolor pencils. Again, I usually like to pull these out when I'm doing the last of my painting that I'm going to do. So let me get all my colors out here and off to the side. And welcome to ADD land. I just realized that I needed to order something off of Amazon. Y'all, this is bad. I go to the store, I do something, and I'm like, oh, it's easier to get that, and then I will forget entirely. So welcome to my lovely ADD world. All right, that does not want to load today. So, help me remember that I got to order something online. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to be putting on some of the final kind of finishing touches here, and it really is just kind of a process of finalizing some layers, making things a little bit darker in some places. Like I want to darken this up a little bit. It's always good to have really nice lights, but this particular one, when I look off and look at it, it is very bright. A little brighter than I want it to be. It's still going to be a nice bright light spot, but yeah, how about we not have it be that bright? And then, as I do when I'm painting, I will still take that same color and I will work it around the painting, just so that I can generate that movement around. And like here, like how this has got, like some of the green has kind of leached in there. It's going to kind of make it look like it's definitely moldy on the top, which is just fine. Let me add. Notice because these are the rocks that I'm adding this into, I'm just kind of being kind of generic and general and moving my pencil around, not really worried about creating any particular shape or shadow. Going in and using the alcohol really helps with that. Kind of helps define that and all of it by itself, which is kind of nice. One of the great things I love about painting with abstract and with watercolor is doing some things that will do some of my job for me as an artist. It's kind of nice. And manipulating my materials in such a way that does that. So I'm going to kind of darken this up a little bit. And here. Well, let me see here. So as I'm going along and just kind of doing this, thought I'd share. I'm very excited. My course that I created is now live. I'm very excited because this is kind of something that has been weighing on me, and that, something that I needed to do that I was really avoiding doing. Kind of like this project. And I love this because it's so emotional. I have, so many memories and so much kind of tied to this project, and taking the leap to kind of share it while I work on it is a bit more of an accountability piece for me than it really is for you. I'm so sorry. It's to hold me accountable, because if I do this, and some of you folks out there decide that you like to watch me paint, which I do find it kind of mesmerizing, to be honest. I took one of the last videos, is a time lapse. It was like 2.5 hours that I time lapsed down into like 40 minutes. Because it's watercolor and sometimes some of the things that I do, it's not super fast, right? I know artists who they're able to just like punk things out. Oh, that's my kitty cat in the background complaining that nobody is giving her any attention. That would be, her name is Marbles. She looks like a marble. Oh, I need to grab my pencil sharpener real quick. I put all of my stuff away when I was wrapping that Longhorn canvas. Y'all, I'm so excited. That canvas is up on the easel and I'm just dying to get that underway. But I wanted to work on this first so I could get some things done. Oh, okay. Ew. Well, all right. I don't usually like a real sharp point. Let me knock that off a little bit. At least not for some of this anyway. Let's see what kind of green I got in here. Oh, yeah. But I'm real excited. So that course is now actually live. I'll put a link in this video. If I remember, down in the comment or the little section down there that lets me add some text so you know what the heck this one's about. I'll add a link in there. Originally as I was thinking about doing this course, so I guess let me tell you a little about it. Since, I'm going to shamelessly plug it in here. I originally did this, I hope you can see that. I originally did this course predominantly because, sometimes when you have something that that you want to share, that it's been really helpful for you, and you end up feeling called to share it, I was like, well, I'll charge a little something for it. So I originally set it up to be shared and with, not too bad of a price tag, I don't think, given some of the courses I've paid for. That's pretty reasonable. And the more I've thought about it and the more I've kind of had time to kind of process, I realized that no, this particular course that I've created, it just needs to be available. It needs to be open to the public. If anybody finds it, they can grab it and watch it, and it will be free. I just, I feel like this is something that I was really pushed and pulled to do. It was definitely outside of my comfort zone. I'm I'm a highly spiritual person. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a religious person, but I'm very much a spiritual person. I have an amazing church and an amazing group of people, that, kind of help me stay grounded in the bounds of reality and connected. And for many years, I did not have that. That was not something that was a part of my life. For many, my church history, if you will, is not always positive. It's not that it was always negative. It was just, I don't know. I guess I have issues when you say one thing and you do something entirely different. If you're going to preach it, you better walk it. It better be something that you do as part of your life. And I had many experiences where that was not the case for people. And typically I was on their receiving end of, their lack of following through on what their faith says. And so I walked away from church for a very long time. But I've kind of come back and I've found a place that is just absolutely wonderful. It's right for me. And some of the processes that I've learned over the years that have kept me grounded in my faith and my spirituality, are things that I've never really shared. I grew up with the idea that your faith, is yours. It's private. It's not something that you share. And for right or for wrong, there's nothing wrong with that either. But it was very difficult for me to grasp this concept of, sharing my faith, especially since I'm doing it out here on the internet, where, God help you, anybody and everybody can express their opinion and be just downright mean and nasty. God bless you, or whatever choice you wish to use with that. But it's difficult to be willing to kind of open up about that. And this course that I created is really the things that I learned over the years that helped me stay sane, that kind of helped me through some really difficult times. I am not kind of your average, everyday, ordinary, if you will, faith. I grew up, in church, but my mom did a lot of things that we're reading. They were kind of not necessarily considered, appropriate, worth reading. A lot of the Gnostic Gospels, some folks that have been excommunicated. They're just fascinating. It's fantastic reading. And she learned a lot. She shared that with me, and it resonated with me. And so a number of the things that I've learned, so this is stuff that's in the course, is something called labyrinth work. A labyrinth is it's contained within a circle, okay? So this circle is not only being representative from a mandala, but they represent unity, they represent wholeness. So there's some symbology behind my choice of circle for this particular project. But a labyrinth is also done in the same vein. It is a circular construct. And there's a place in the center that's an opening, if you will. There's one entrance. Oops, you can't see my hand. There's one entrance and one exit. And you enter and kind of follow this very kind of meandering path, which frankly is a lot like life. You never know. And as you go along, sometimes you kind of get mesmerized by the path and you find yourself having gone right back out again. How to get out? Well, life does that to you. And as you go through and you follow this path, the idea is that you can learn the things that you need to let go of, the things that you need to leave behind, if you will. You get to the center. This is a place where you can experience, meditate, pray. It's secular. It's not associated to any particular religion. You can use it as a type of prayer. You can use it as a type of meditation. You can use it as a form of self-knowledge. So there's lots of stuff with that. But the details of that are all in that course that I'm going to share down here at the bottom. So that was one tool that is just incredibly powerful. And I absolutely love that. But it's not something that I really ever talked about or shared with anybody, is that this is a thing and that you can do this. And no, you don't have to have access to one. You can just print one out. A couple of meditations that I learned over the years, an archangel meditation that was taught to me by a good friend and mentor, which can be like crazy, super powerful. In my life, I've experienced a lot of things. So one of which was an unpleasant divorce. I realized that I was in this narcissistic relationship that, sweet mercy, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And if you are in that situation where you are made to feel like everything is your fault and the other person has done no wrong and that it's all on you and that, they didn't really mean to say these really mean and nasty things to you and they love you very much. And, and yet, however, still everything is your fault. Please get some help. That is not a situation that I would wish on anybody. I did that for 20 years before I figured out that, hey, wait a second. And it literally took somebody telling me that there really isn't anything wrong with you. Okay, then what the heck is going on? So I learned a lot. this is a meditation that has done wonders for me, and helped me heal. I took my vows very, very seriously. I take my vows very, very seriously. I remarried, an amazing human being. But I really struggled with the idea of divorcing my husband. The vows that I took meant something to me. And yet, even though I felt like I was the only one actually attempting to try to salvage the relationship, by the way, also narcissistic, that this particular archangel meditation, I had the most overwhelming experience of peace and understanding and comfort, and that the direction that I needed to go in was clear. I already knew the answer, but I felt at odds with my personal faith. And that meditation helped me tremendously to kind of open my eyes and help me to see that my sanity, that my health, my mental health matters. And I needed to make sure that I could take care of myself and my kids. And it was just kind of that confirmation of peace that I needed, that it would be okay. Because frankly, being a single parent is quite terrifying as a concept when you've been a stay-at-home mom. And so therefore, society isn't so nice about women. That's a whole nother subject. Earlier, before this was posted, the whole Roe v. Wade thing, politics isn't pleasant for women. You have to overcome so many obstacles. You're supposed to be a caregiver. You're supposed to be. There's all of these expectations, and yet my rights can be removed on a whim by some politician, because apparently I can't make decisions for myself, just because they may not go with your beliefs. I feel like everybody has the right to make a choice for themselves. You don't have to agree with that choice, but it ain't your business. It ain't your body. And yeah, anyway, yeah, that'll make for some fun comments. Sorry, folks. But this meditation made a world of difference for me. And then there was one that I created. I have, in my pursuit for sanity, which, is still up for debate. Just ask my kids. If my daughter watches this, she'll be more than likely to comment that it's not. I'm still completely bonkers. Not completely bonkers. At least cool bonkers. Yeah, mostly cool bonkers. Okay, somewhat cool bonkers. Is a meditation that I created as a result of this journey to kind of heal myself and to make sure that I could figure out who I am and what I really wanted. I think we all find times when we're like, hello, is there a reset button somewhere in this thing called life? Can I get a do-over? Yeah, there's not really a do-over. Well, there is in a way. You can choose to kind of start over again. I have done that on numerous occasions, when needed. But you can, this meditation is a combination of some courses that I took. I learned about Ho'oponopono, which is an amazing thing to do. I'm Tony Robbins, Chloe Madonna's trained life coach. I've got a basic group coach certification from Mark and Magali Pasha, predominantly because I haven't been willing to form a group to actually do the rest, so I can become fully certified and get all the delightful ICF and stuff. But I have to actually form a group to do that, which I've not done. It just hasn't been the right time. So I took all of the stuff that I had learned and I combined it with a meditation that I know is a heart meditation. So all of these things are in that course, so that you can watch it, you can see it. If something resonates with you, then I'm glad it helps you. I'm glad it made a difference for you. if you get it and watch it and you don't like it, well, okay, then it's not for you, and it didn't cost you anything, so no harm. But I'm real excited by doing that. That was a huge leap of faith on my part, because it isn't something that I share about myself very often or with very many people. And so here I am going on YouTube, opening up to anybody and everybody who wants to watch this YouTube video. Yeah, so that's kind of me. What's going on? Some of my friends have watched it and they really liked it, so they were like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" So that made me feel better. So if nothing else, at least they liked it. So that's kind of heartening. But other than that, all right. So, that got kind of deep, kind of quick. Let's talk about something a little bit more happy. I got stuff to make a key lime pie. I have multiple things that I enjoy doing. That's the other kind of problem, if you will, that I have, is that I like to do a variety of things. I love to paint. This is something that I'm extremely passionate about, that I put aside, and having worked on this, I have to tell you, has kind of reminded me of how much joy I get from creating. There's a number of different paths you can do to create. Painting is one of mine that I just absolutely love. I love the meditative quality about it. There really is kind of a spiritual component to it, which, which appeals to me. And then there's also the sense of fun. It's fun. I get to play. I get to interact. I get to try something. It's a safe place. You can make mistakes, and who cares? When I taught art once upon a time, I would tell people that mistakes are just simply there's no real thing as a mistake. It's a discovery. It's well, I didn't really want that there. Okay, so do you leave it there? Do you find a way around it? Do you incorporate it? What do you do with it? And it's very freeing. So many things in life are judgmental. I mean, for real. So many things in life are judgmental. Or at least somebody's got some sort of opinion that's a negative one. And ain't nobody up in here can tell me that one's not true. Somebody's always got something negative to say, unfortunately. Here, I'm going to pause my video for a all right, I'm back. I had to take a pause. All right. You know what? I have no idea what I was talking about. So for those of you who are actually interested in what it is to paint, what I do at this end here is that I kind of go in. This is a phthalo green. For those of you who are interested in what color I'm using, I come back in and I add additional detailing. I like to do that with a colored pencil. I'm moving color around because color is a way that I can control and kind of move eye movement through the painting. And so you want to kind of move this color throughout. I'm kind of using this and kind of backing up in here. This phthalo green is kind of bright, and I want to use it to pull in along this horizon line. Okay, I have to admit I'm not crazy about this little mountain back here, so it's there. I'm kind of stuck with it. It's too late to make that go away. So it's this kind of odd thing that if you've ever been to Ireland, you're like, what the heck is that? That doesn't exist. So welcome to Artistic License. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to move this color kind of throughout my painting. I'm looking for some of the darker areas. It will help kind of brighten those, give them a little bit more life. Whenever you paint, the more layers of color you can use in an area helps provide some depth, right? You don't want to just have just this one singular color that you're using. It then doesn't flow. It looks very, very flat. And even though this is an abstract piece, I don't necessarily want it to look flat, right? I want it to have some depth. I want it to have some, characteristics, some quality to it, some depth of color, and coming in and incorporating a color and pulling it through helps by adding in that variety. You can define certain areas. You can give some definition to places. Like I like taking along where the paint, from the bag, from where I painted, that it creates these lines and these creases. I can come in and emphasize those. I can de-emphasize some by making it flatter, making it starting to go away and disappear. But this phthalo green is kind of like this nice bright color. It will liven up some of these areas that maybe get too dark, and they need to have a little bit of life kind of brought back into them. Like this olive green that's along here, that I used along here. I kind of want to brighten it up a little bit. And I can do that with this phthalo green. So again, grass, which this is obviously depicting kind of an abstract form, grass. Grass is not just green. Grass is yellow. It's got a little bit of brown in it. It has, you can see some of the dirt kind of underneath. It is varied. You want to start trying to look when you're observing outside. Yes, you need to go outside for those of you who don't venture out. You want to be able to kind of start looking at things a little differently using what we call an artist's eye. Look at the color when you look at the leaves in a tree. Go look and see, and it becomes kind of a game. How many colors can you pick out? How many shapes can you identify? What about the movement, right? How can I depict this kind of movement on a flat surface? What are some of the things that I can do? And as you start to observe, the more you observe, the better your skills become in terms of drawing. This is especially true for those of you who want to do more realistic work. I really like doing abstract work. I will occasionally throw in, a shape over something abstract. I've done some florals over some abstract watercolors. And there are times when I paint and I get an image and it wasn't planned. I didn't intend to. I have one that looks like one of those masks. I'm over here gesturing at my face. You can't see that. I use hand gestures a lot, and so you'll see my hands moving. Hello. But I'm over here gesturing at my face. So those kind of like a bird mask or a mask. It looks like that. It was kind of crazy when I pulled off the paint. I looked down and I'm like, well, there's a beak, there's eyes, there's the whole thing, and then there's this like big road coming down. Y'all, that was a heck of a lot of fun. That does happen when you're doing abstract work. Sometimes you'll be working along and then you'll go along and you start painting, and then you look up and you're like, oh my gosh, there's there's something in my painting. It's pretty nifty. I remember being at an art show, and I had this painting. I loved this painting, and it was vibrant, and it was all these great colors, and I loved the interplay, the texture, the color. I had somebody come up and go, looks like the Statue of Liberty. And I'm like, where on earth are you seeing? Y'all, they pointed out like the headpiece of the Statue of Liberty, so the crown. I couldn't not see it after that. I was so sad because I had liked that painting for a whole host of reasons, none of which were because I thought it looked like the Statue of Liberty. But that is sometimes the great thing about abstract work, especially if you're going to go show it out into the world. They can see, people will see things in it that they want to see, or that their perception, right, of the universe allows them to see that, and yours does not. So it's I find all of that quite fascinating. It can also be sometimes kind of frustrating. Oh yeah, it's a painting of this. Yeah, but it's not. So as an artist, you just kind of have to understand that while I paint for myself, like this is what I like, this is how I like to see it, I have to recognize that when other people view my art, they are going to see it based on their experiences, based on their life, based on their worldview, based on the things that are, that they are familiar with, that they are comfortable with. And it's not going to be the same as mine because we're different people. Amen to that, right? That none of us are all the same. Whew. That'd be scary. Hate to encounter another one of me somewhere. Otherwise known as my daughter. My 24-year-old, who is basically a now grown me, who is also her own person. She just has some of the same characteristics and qualities that I have, for which I am always eternally apologetic for. All right, I need to brighten this up. All right, I've got this. Okay, so I've got a yellow that's got a little bit of a green tinge to it. I'm going to pull it and go light cadmium yellow and this. I want to brighten some of this up in here, and so I want to pull in a little bit of a brighter yellow, and I'm going to pull it in into some of these white spaces that's in here. And I'm okay with that. And then get it on top of some of these areas of green. Oh, I like that one. I like this better than I like this greenish yellow, so I'm going to put that greenish yellow away. Just want a little bit of that kind of pop of bright kind of throughout here. I'm going to find some places to kind of embed that bright spots of yellow. That brightness is going to help move the eye even more through here, because your mind will start to pick up and read on these things. And it will help move your eyeballs around the painting. A little bit down in here. All right. Okay. Now, I feel pretty good about how this at the bottom is looking. I'm just kind of looking, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting here looking at my screen. Looking up at my screen is a great way to kind of take myself out of it and see. I really like the way that this is forming up here. It's this nice kind of worn, looks kind of like a worn path. Not so much grass, probably a little bit more dirt here and here. And then there's this kind of swirling action in here. But it looks like I want to come in here and deepen some of that up a little bit. So I'm going to come back in here. And I want to pick up some of this kind of swirling action that I'm seeing. And highlight some of that because I really do like that kind of swirl effect that I'm seeing. I like this. Okay, one of the reasons why I like that is because this idea of in Celtic imagery of circular images, things that are often very curved, and I see that in the entrance stones, I see that in the knotwork designs. So I kind of want to come back in here and emphasize some of that. And here. So I'm kind of actually using, I'm actually using the fact that I can look in the, look at my computer screen is helping me out. And now I want to do the same thing in this space here. Really kind of start to emphasize this movement around because see, it's very active over here and then it starts to slowly dissipate. These two are very close together, so I have this nice sharp shadow, right, that's helping pull your eye up. Okay, I'm gonna play with this a little bit. And then I've got the nice bright, right? This stone is coming in and down, right? So I'm going to see this, and then I'm pulled back into the center and following that yellow, and then I kind of get to go back all the way around. I want to pull somebody's eye all the way through and around the painting. So that is a good thing. All right, so I'm about to turn this bad boy upside down. And I'm going to set it, and let's see how far up here I can get this so you can see the full top. All right, so it is now upside down. I'm going to work on it upside down, and I'm going to do that with my colored pencils. I want to get this as close to finalized as I want up here, and I'm going to save putting on a little bit of silver finish with the acrylic ink that I got. One of the things that may be difficult for you to see with the camera, but I can see it, is that I used an iridescent watercolor on this and speckled it a little bit. And so it has some lightness as if there's stars in the sky. That acrylic is going to really emphasize that, and I want to see it kind of more up here and have it fade as it gets further down. So I'm going to come in, and this is a nice dark deep blue, and I'm going to just emphasize some of these spaces that are a little bit kind of off. I like the lightness. I love this rich kind of purpley dark in here, and I'm going to add in some of this blue into here to give that, again, that color variation. In order to create that depth of color, you want to add in additional layers and levels of color, which is what I've got going on here. Oh, and I guess I've never really put this out there, but if there's a some that you're like, oh, I'd like to know this, please, by all means, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. see what it is that you're thinking and what is it that is appealing to you. Would love to hear that. Come in here with a little darker color that's a little bit more green. With this blue. I don't really play music when I do this. For whatever reason, I find the music to be kind of distracting when I do this. I've got the time lapse, I've got to add some sort of music into it. Or I should say I have added some music into it. FYI, I actually record a lot of the videos before they get posted because y'all getting these videos edited and posted up to YouTube, okay, that's like a full-time job. So whoever does this for a living, my hat is off to you because that's a pain in my booty. The software that I use is limited in terms of the music offering, so it sounds like horrific elevator music. However, I can understand that sitting there and staring at just, speed draw has got to be ultimately not very exciting to see if there's not any music to it. So I do try to go back in and do that. Oh, and y'all, okay, so this is another, obviously, hello, I record these and then post them at different times after I have actually, created them. So I've got a backlog, if you will. Because when I have to go back to work, I'm a little concerned about being able to keep up. But y'all, for real, I went through all this trouble. It took me like a day and a half. I added a little thing at the beginning of every video. I added a little thing at the end of every video. And then I get into YouTube. Y'all, I pick the image that I want for it to show up as. Huh? So please excuse some of these videos that have space and time, like 4 seconds in front of them, with just nothingness, or mic noise, because I thought I had to go in there and add a little pre-video, and then when I go to upload everything into YouTube, no. And they have a thing where you can actually create like a little thing afterwards, after your video. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of a learning experience on my part. So, be nice, don't be nice. It's all good. But yeah, so y'all, that takes forever. I mean, it can literally take an hour and a half to 2 hours to upload a video. Which I think is just insanity. However, that is probably more due to my connection than it has anything to do with YouTube. Beep, beep, boo. Alright. This over here is just so rich. I love this purple up in here. This is so dark. This is a nice violet. For all of my art friends out there, purple is violet. It's not purple, it's violet. Think of the light spectrum. Okay, this is Delft blue on it. Oh, this is not. It's a blue purple. There you go, blue violet. That's what I want. So when you think of your colors, okay, hues, do a little teaching moments in here. In the art world, we don't call colors colors, they're hues. And you can think of the basics in terms of the light spectrum. Roy G. Biv, okay? R, red. Okay, so Roy, R-O-Y, red, orange, yellow. G, green. Biv, blue, indigo, violet. Okay, so that kind of forms the basis of colors. Now, when you're talking digital and print, now you're talking cyan, magenta, and cyan, magenta, and then I think, what is it, yellow, some form of yellow. And because color mixes differently But within paint, you're talking violet. It's not purple. There's all different kinds of shades. So shades, you're adding black. Tints, you're adding white. In order to get the effects that you want. And that's one of the reasons why the way that I paint, I like the way that I paint because I think about all those aspects of color theory. How do you take red, blue, yellow and make colors? Well, you know, yellow and blue make green. And, you know, how do you get purple? Red and blue. So what happens when you add more blue? What happens when you add more purple? What happens when you, not more purple, but what happens when you add more red than blue? What happens when you add more blue than red? Oh, hey, what happens if I add a little bit of, you know, this, a little bit of, white is not really a thing in some of the liquid acrylics, at least not in the Doc Martens. I've seen black, but I've not seen white. So I pick up, like Chinese white or another one so I can use to lighten it. But the reality is that in watercolor, you just don't add as much paint. You don't add as much paint. It's mostly water. And then you're going to get that variation in color, which is quite lovely. So again, all I'm doing is this is a purple, or a violet. All right, this is a blue violet. And I'm just coming in here and I'm going to move this color around the board. I really do like the way the sky turned out. I don't really want to do a whole lot to it. I do want to come back in here and add in some places a little bit of depth of color, a little bit of a variation so that it's not just kind of solid. And because I can't wait to start on this longhorn. Y'all, I'm dying. Like I said, I've had this image kind of stuck in my mind and it just does not want to go anywhere, which is fine. But that means that I am wanting to set up to get it traced onto the image, at least put onto the canvas, so that I can then use a watt ton of masking fluid in order to cover up the longhorn itself. Oh yes, and I have some unique vocabulary. If you haven't figured it out, I'm Texan. I'm a native Texan, which is something of a rarity sometimes. So I speak slang. I speak Southern. I speak Texas Southern. That's for sure. So for those of you who are not from the South, just kind of go with it. It's all right. I usually translate myself eventually. Okay, so here what I want you to notice is that I have this transition as kind of blue into a blue-green, and that's because I had gotten, when I laid down the paint to do the sky, some of this green kind of leached itself in. So I am going to be coming back in here and trying to lighten, give it more of a blue. I want it to have much more of a blue tint or tinge. I kind of like the way this ended up here, but I do want to see a little bit more blue brought in down here. So this is a nice bright, right? This is nice bright, vibrant kind of blue. Yes. Middle phthalo blue. All right, awesome. That's why it's so nice and bright. Phthalo colors tend to have an extra hard pop of intensity in their color, which makes them just lovely to use when you're wanting to highlight something, bring out an aspects that it almost glows. So it's just wonderful. I like color. It's one of my favorite things in the world is color, working with color. And I think that's why I like watercolor so much, is that I mean, that's mostly what I get to do, is I get to sit here and play with color on color and generate kind of these washes and have color come to life for people. It's also, I think, why I'm so attracted to abstract work, is because I'm far more interested in the color and the texture that I can create than I am in the shape. So I think it's kind of funny that I'm sitting here doing a thing with standing stones, because it's got to at least look like standing stones. If it doesn't, then I've kind of missed my point of what I'm trying to create. All right, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some of this, but I've got to get a bit of glare on this side. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some of this blue, and it's going to be a fairly decent contrast. So I want to see if I can grab. Okay. Oh, it's still got lots of color in it. All right, so I'll grab my paintbrush here, and this way you can see off the side. I'll try to get it's got a little bit of yellow in it. I want to blend in this. If I want to blend it in and I want it to kind of be smooth in with what is there, I'm going to pull out my brush so that it flattens and kind of mixes. I don't do that very often at this stage, but this particular section is so saturated with color that blue is really, really standing out, and I don't want it to stand out that much. Alright, so besides color, let's see, I paint, I knit, so any of my fiber people out there, welcome to the show. Knitting is nice. I enjoy it because I'm not one of these people who goes in and uses, who just goes in and is like, oh, I don't need a pattern. No, I most definitely need a pattern when I'm knitting. And I think it's because it's something that I do for enjoyment. I don't have to, the most I have to think about is the pattern. Somebody is giving me directions, if you will. I guess it could be considered like a fiber version of paint by number. So it's kind of knit by pattern instead of paint by number. And so it's far more relaxing, because when I'm painting, even though I'm over here talking a mile a minute, but that's just because you're here, and I would not want you to be bored out of your mind watching this video. So you can at least be slightly entertained. You can always turn the volume off. This is not dark enough. You can get in here a little bit. I just stuck my hand in there. I just stuck my arm in there. Okay, well, it's not like I don't end up covered in paint anyway. But there are times when you just want to be able to enjoy creating something, right? You want to have a movie on in the background. You want to be able to do something. You want to be able to really engage in a conversation with other people. I can't do that when I paint. Like, if somebody wants to talk to me while I paint, that requires more brain power. I can sit here and talk to myself, because it's in essence what I'm kind of doing, while I paint. It doesn't, because I'm processing, right? I'll stop, I'll pause, I'll stop talking. You'll notice that I'm going to lose track of what I was even saying. Yeah, so sorry about that. And I can do that while I do this. When I'm knitting, no, not so much. And I like to cook. So basically, I paint, I live to knit. When I'm having to wait for paint to dry, knitting is what I do. And I like to cook. Actually, okay, let me rephrase. I like to bake. Great British Bake Off is amazing. It's one of my favorite shows to watch, and I wish they had more episodes, and more seasons, because I thoroughly enjoy that. But I love the process of baking. I'm teaching myself how to make bread. Not doing too shabby of a job. At least the family likes it anyway. Nobody is complaining. The bread has turned out really nice, in my humble opinion. but scones and, oh, it's just all so delicious. But I'm trying to bake a little, I don't know, can't say healthier. Baking is not something that you're doing because, oh yeah, I'm trying to get healthy and let me bake some more. But it's a way to, like, how can I take something that I really enjoy and make it less full of preservatives? I need a magenta. I need like a purplish, a lighter color. Yeah, that's what you are. All right, let me bring you around. Sometimes I have to stop talking. I'm sorry. Well, not really, but sometimes I have to stop talking as I process and think about where I'm going to put this and where it's going to go and how am I going to move this color around the piece without it being too overwhelming, and have it be impactful. So that does sometimes require my concentration. Okay, that is just, the glare on this side of my painting is for real. Just because the paint has collected here and is so concentrated that it's shiny in the light, or at least in this kind of light. It's not when I put it up and look at it, but boy howdy. And the lighting that I have so that you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. It shows up as very, very shiny. All right. Let's see. All right, I am going to, can I get away with this? Can I get away with you? I can. Okay, I'm not a fan of pink. But sometimes, and with some of this purple, it's mixed and it's making this kind of mauve, puke pink, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, color. And I want to see if I can use that to kind of create some highlights in some of these areas. And I can. It's working. Yay. Did I mention that experimentation is part of the key here? Because guess what? If I don't like it, I can grab that paintbrush and I can lift that color off. Especially at this stage, it's a lot more easy. It's a lot easier to lift color than it is in the beginning. Now you can't remove it entirely. It has to be super fresh for it to come off and leave your canvas just completely blank. As I had to relearn and rediscover. It's awesome. But yeah. Ooh, I think I'm ready. All right, guys, I think we're ready. All right, so let me get down here into my bin of stuff. Ah! Okay, I'm getting attacked. All right. Okay, for those of you who may or may not have seen some of my other videos, I do use trash bags to mix my colors. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to use a clean, fresh one because I don't want any of the color from the other trash bags that's on the other ones to come through. I want to create a nice, clean barrier around here so that when I use my little airbrush tool, it is not going to okay, hold on, I'm trying to use scissors. It doesn't work well. Come on. I've used these scissors on cutting canvas, and because the canvas that I use is coated, okay, because this watercolor canvas has a coating on it. It my scissors aren't always so happy with me when I then try to do this. And it wants to catch. There we go. Now this allows me to open this up. All right. And because, as a trash bag, it's got little handles. So I can use this little handle here to create this. And I don't care if paint gets on that. And then guys, all I'm doing is I'm going to create an anchor in because obviously a trash bag is flexible. However, I don't want anything to get underneath it. So, what am I going to use to, I don't want anything to get up underneath in any kind of way. I don't care if my pencil gets a little bit of something on it. Oh, you know what? Hold on. So there's an advantage to having art supplies right at your hands, right at your fingertips, is because then you can be like, oh, wait a second, I can use that to try to anchor some of these down. So to kind of give them a little bit of weight. Not much weight, obviously. Those things are really lightweight. Ooh, okay. Now, swivel back. All right. I've pulled 3 of these. And what you're going to see is you're going to see me kind of, or you may not be able to see it because I can only pull my camera so far before it decides to come off my table over on the other side entirely. I have a this dust that I have across here. Yeah, I have had that for several decades, and it was actually a neighbor's, and when they moved out, she wasn't going to take it. And it's a really great desk. We got it. My mom wanted it. So I was like, great, we'll take this and she can use it. And then now my mom's passed away, so I have it and I use it because I don't want to buy another. I don't want to go buy a desk. Are you kidding me? So what you're going to see is I need to move some of the stuff that I have over here out the way. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with paint inside it. I don't want paint inside my water, my Totoro mug. Which reminded me I needed to drink some water. Nor do I really want it on my mouse pad or my scissors. But I have a mouth atomizer, and I will test my color off to the side over here before I bring it over onto my my paint. And I'm going to just stack these up and get these moved out of the way so that I don't end up putting paint on those too, because that would be entertainment. My eyeglass case is over there because I cannot see. I am, I'm nearsighted, but as I am getting older, it's so much fun to go to the eye doctor. I've had one eye doctor ask me if I need a seeing eye dog, and I told him that wasn't really very funny because my eyes get, progressively worse. My eyesight gets progressively worse. But this last time, I'm doing a lot more computer stuff than I usually do, and I keep having trouble seeing and reading the computer. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting headaches and things like that, and so they have this thing called office glasses, where I have trifocals, and it takes the bottom 2 and basically is a pair of glasses with just that. So with the glasses that I'm currently wearing, I can see really well up close, really well at about a mid-range, but anything after that's a little fuzzy. Not super, super fuzzy, but yeah, it's definitely not clear. These are not glasses for driving, and that's for sure. All right, so I'm going to pop, again, you can barely see this. So I'm going to pop some of the bubbles out of this. Make sure that I've got this set off to the side over here. This is a, make the place where there's guns. This is a mouth atomizer. You can buy these. Get the metal one. Don't get any plastic one. Want to make sure you kind of keep it clean, as I pick off paint that apparently I did not. I did not keep this clean. And you'll see it'll collect color over time. Here, let's see if I can get that to show up at all. I don't know if you can see it's kind of like blue. There's a section down here that's white, but it'll pick up color over time. It's not a big deal. And then, so pardon me, I need a blue. All right, so here we go. So you drop it in like this. All right, so this end goes in, and you're gonna blow through the plastic part over here. And I'm gonna do this off to the side so I can figure out what kind of spray I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna stand up. All right, there we go. Alright, I'm going to have to actually clean out some of the inside of this. Alright, so I've got paint coming up to the inside, but I'm not getting a really good spray. So I'm going to pause my video here. Let me go see if I can clean this out a little bit. And then that way I can finish this up, and then I believe she will be done. Alright, so I just went and ran some cold water through it just to see if I could, actually hot water, to see if I could empty it out. It's coming out clear. But I am not getting the kind of spray that I would like to have. So I'm going to try this again. There we go. Yeah, that's it. That's what I was looking for. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's so much better. So whatever that did the trick. I'm going to come in with some blue. Again, same thing. I'm going to remove as many bubbles as I can. Oh, again, I'm off camera. Y'all, sometimes I forget. If I ever get to the point where I choose to do live streaming, y'all will be able to tell me. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't see you. Hopefully you'd still be able to hear me. Alright, so I'm not going to worry that I've got some. I'm tapping it off over here to remove what's on the inside, because I'm going to be going over it with purple, over the purple with the blue. Not too concerned. All right. I am going to go rinse this one. And so, since it didn't take me very long to go rinse it, alright, I'm going to pause this so I can go rinse, and then I'll be right back. Okay. Alright, so rinsed off. I didn't shake up the white one, so let's shake this one up. You always want to shake if you're using any kind of liquid paint. You want to make sure you shake it up. So that any of the pigment that settles at the bottom is not settling at the bottom for you. That'll be especially true for those of you who decide you want to make your own paint. You're still going to want to make sure you get everything mixed up really well. Alright, here we go. This one you're going to be able to potentially see really well because this one is that silvery white. And I'm going to bring that up and around, especially around here, and hope that it kind of spreads a little bit in here as well. All right, here we go. All right, that turned out, that's just right. I didn't want a ton down in here. I wanted some. I want it mostly up here, which is exactly what I got. All right, guys, so before I clean up anything, let's take a look. I'm going to move my colored pencils, which now have a little bit of something, something on them. So do the cups. Those are fine. Set that off to the side. My pencil sharpener now looks like it belongs to an artist. Let's lift this. Now let's turn it around. See how this looks. Okay, well, y'all, I have to say I'm pretty happy with this. The mountain over here got a little bit of white speckles on it. That's kind of funny. Not quite as much over here. This ended up with a little bit more than it did anywhere. It didn't kind of concentrated over there. I'm still okay with that. I like this. I'm going to stop. So one of the things that I have to remind myself to do is, instead of when I'm like, oh, but what about here, and stop with your bad self. And I'm going to set it down. I will come back and revisit it before I consider it to be finished. And when it's finished, I will sign it. Now, this is one that I don't necessarily have to do this, but on the back, I'll often put an arrow and pointing down to show you where the painting actually goes. I discovered that the hard way. I took one of my paintings to get it scanned, to get a really nice digital scan of the Tree of Life one. And I had them do a print. I asked them to do a print for me. And when they did the print, this was the bottom. I was like, yeah, no. So I've now since learned that I need to actually tell people where the top and the bottom is so that they can figure it out. Now, obviously, hopefully they would figure out with this one because there's a horizon line. However, you never know. But right now I'm good with this. I think this is a good one. That means I get to go play and set up to do the Longhorn. We'll see if I actually manage to get that done today, or if that's going to be a video for another time. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this helps you kind of see a little bit of a lot of the process. But also for those of you who are interested, who are learning and wanting to do watercolor painting, some different techniques. We use alcohol here. I use a printmaking technique to lay down the majority of my color and use that to get that wash and create that line work that I'm looking for. And I can do this in segments, right? So that I can switch and have control over my color. So this was dry when we did the sky, or this was mostly dry when I did the sky, and I created a line, using a trash bag of all things. Then coming back in, with paint from a palette and adding in additional levels of color and levels of depth. Coming back in again with watercolor crayons and watercolor pencils. I used the watercolor pencils, and then I tend to use those with the brush to even that out, because it's a little bit more concentrated color. And then using an airbrush technique to add like a fine spray of an acrylic that kind of gives this kind of iridescent kind of galaxy effect, which I happen to really like. So I hope this helps kind of give you some insight, but I also hope you just enjoyed the process. So I will hopefully see you in the next video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and you're more than welcome. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate giving me a little bit of a like. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe. You know the drill. Y'all are very savvy YouTubers. So thank you so much, and have an amazing day.